Looking at the directions of this question, it says 5 alternative summaries are given below the paragraph. Choose the option that best captures the essence of the paragraph. In these kinds of questions, what we have to do is we have to capture the gist of the paragraph through an option. And there are some don'ts for picking up the options. The option which is half-baked or which further leads to a question or has any of the external opinion should not be chosen as the correct option. Any option which is irrelevant must also be left out. So let's look at the paragraph now. The paragraph over here says, magical realism is not speculative and does not conduct thought experiments. Instead, it tells its stories from a perspective of people who live in our world and experience a different reality from the one we call objective. So, the words to mark over here are not speculative, does not conduct thought experiments, it tells stories from the perspective of people who live in our world and experience a different reality. If there is a ghost in the story of magical realism, the ghost is not a fantasy element but a manifestation of the reality of people who believe in and have real experiences of ghosts. So, what the author is trying to say is that magical realism captures the realities of the world in which we live in, but the reality that people experience is different from what is normally experienced. Now, let's look at the options. The first option says, magical realism is a view of real people who experienced ghosts and witches. Now here, the option is too narrow and too specific because it leaves out any discussion on the aspect of reality, therefore it becomes the incorrect option. Let's look at the second option. Magical realism leaves the reader with the feeling that the world of ghosts and witches is real. Now this option cannot be a summary as it talks about the impact on the people, therefore it also goes for a toss. Let's look at the third option. Magical realism is not speculative as the people who experience this reality are. Now the passage is nowhere talking about people being speculative, therefore this option also goes incorrect. Let's look at the fourth option, which says magical realism is not speculative but it is the view of real people who experience a reality different from a normal objective reality, and that is exactly what the paragraph was talking about. So we'll keep this at bay and let's examine the fifth option also. The fifth option says magical realism gives the readers the experience of a different objective world through the eyes of others. Now this is too wayward an option because it talks about the experience of a different objective world through the eyes of others. This is too philosophical, therefore it also goes for a toss, and the correct option becomes option number 4. Thank you.